Hi there everyone. Last few videos I've made were build showcases, and as a result I've gathered a bunch of clips I didn't really use. Also I just record whenever I invade, so I just selected some of those to make a video. The invasion here happens on rune level 150 build. It's obviously an arcane faith. Those two dudes are essentially using same glitch as with Fire's Deadly Sin. The whole interaction with Blood Flame Blade is just fucked. On top of that I get a Moron Co-invader. It's been almost a year since the game released, by the way. At first I thought I would be missing Dark Souls 3 co-invasions, but never mind. Dragon Maw and Grey Old Straw are most fun spells to use for me, and I should be totally using Dragon Claw more for how much damage it does. Other Dragon Communion spells are just recolors, and they're not very exciting, but I guess some people don't deserve anything cool happening to them, like here. Normally I would try my best not to hit my Co-invader, but not in this case. Thankfully some thought process happened in his head, so started attacking right target. The problem with this character is I couldn't find a meaningful weapon to use. There's Eleonora's Fall Blade, Magma Scale Sword, and that's about it. So, as a result I just used meanest setup ever in this invasion, as I was already irritated by previous. And I did the thing with taking frustration on the next group. Honestly, I didn't have a good time on this build. There are some others that I enjoy much more. I could add madness incantations, but again this wouldn't make much sense. I've made this build after Dragon Breath were nerfed, by the way, and Rod Breath got hit hardest, rightfully so, because there is no reason it should do highest physical damage, but Greenstone Breath is just as stupid as it been. Next I got a frog, just like Saint's Caster that can combo, but more evil, and at rune level 90. I've came up with a little lore that this guy found his way to Halictree, hence wearing the Surcode, but was subjugated by a Moog, which twisted him, and he began using Blood Flame. I stuck Flask and the Talisman for a powerful drill on this build. It also works on Rivers of Blood or Warrior's Rapier R2. I really underestimated Blood Boon, and generally it's just worth free aiming. This bonfire duel lasts for a while, so I skip till the host begins to flee. A blue was dealt with mercilessly, but that's what he gets. I went for poison instead of Lord of Blood's exaltation, but sometimes I can swap them. This heavy thrusting sword is probably my favorite, just for the looks and 2 follow-ups from Ash of War. Also I got 40 arcane at rune level 90, so that's pretty good. I got Catch Flame as means of roll catch, and you know what it does. Phantom Finger here actually worked as intended, oddly enough. I'm not worried about using it because everyone except host is dead. I imagine this was a nightmare from this guy's perspective, and I really played like a bad red man. But there's been enough situations where I tried to be nice and then some hideous blue would show up and I would immediately regret it. So just do not climb the ladder 2 times on me. And as I said, this frog is evil, avenging his fallen brothers that were farmed in Mogwin Palace. Next 3 invasions are on one of my favorite builds I've made that is centered around wars at 137. But first invasion is dedicated to a great bow. Golem arrows almost made a substitution for a middle great bows for me. It may be even better, as it doesn't cost FP, and Rain of Arrows is fun as hell. One little thing I like doing against passive groups is shooting Golden Arrow at my feet, which will basically grant me Golden Vow. Then I equip arrow damage talismans and just delete them with Rain of Arrows. They fell into opposite directions, and I wonder if the host triggered elevator on his way down. Warcry Lance was taken from Ouroboros video, and no need to equip even a Spear Talisman. Honestly, I'm surprised I've not seen this setup used at all, because it can just trade with anything, and has excellent moveset. I also use a Greatsword with a Warcry, because it true combos. If I did the math right, my R2 damage is boosted by 50%, not counting the counter hit damage. I think Axe of Godfrey is the most fun Colossal I've used, for its crouch attack and overall moveset. I like trading playstyle with this weapon, although it could suffer from aim punch, but I did not get that issue too much. However, regular R1s sometimes just miss for no reason. Honestly, I would have preferred other Colossals much more, if they had more roll catch potential by having more active frames, or R1 true combo. Originally I was discouraged by CD scaling on this weapon. The crown is warranted with strength, by the way, but with all the stacking it does good numbers, as always in this game. Jumping attack on it is not that great, and also sometimes it's too slow to take reposts. I swapped to Ringed Finger as a meme. It's actually the longest hammer. Also its SR4 has 500 hyper armor, so basically unbreakable for some reason. I'll try my hardest to hit it here. After 107, Barbaric Warhammer is really good, especially on this build with all the stacking, because it all hits and does 1500 damage. I got a take guard break number 4. This is the only good clip I got on Dragon build, with all cool guy checkmarks. After a few more invasions I ended up deleting it, so it will be remembered here, and now I have 2 more free slots. Dragonmaw has 500 points, so I just eat up that other Moonveil without even seeing it. And Grail's Roar is impossible to dodge on Wake Up, but I screwed it here a little. Next I'm back on Gravity build, also one of my favorites. Gravity might be carried by massless particles called gravitons. For decades, theorists have struggled to unify Einstein's theory of gravity, known as general relativity, with quantum theory, which describes the subatomic world. That's because each theory takes a radically different view of the force on gravity. Most theorists believe that gravitons must exist because quantum theory has successfully explained every other force of nature. But not everyone agrees. No theory claiming to unify quantum theory with GR has been successfully verified. This has raised suspicion that perhaps gravity isn't like any other force, in which case gravitons may not exist. It never gets old to meet Lightroom with one of the heaviest setups in the game, of Ruin's Greatsword and Star Scourge. I spam a support here more than usual like a Kevin, but it ends up working out because of human greed. Follow-up does hurt even without mana left. Next, an invasion on big old platform without any support, where I simply don't have to fight to be won. Waves of Darkness on this build is so strong, it one-shots many phantoms. This is first time I've seen shield crash on Fingerprint in a while. Thankfully it's not bleed or frost infused. I accidentally ate grub here twice because that's my instinct reaction to host using a rune. If they remain passive, I can just keep pulling them to me. I get enough poise to ignore most of the nonsense this host does and focus on a phantom, utilizing jump attacks to compensate for weapon's length. Finally they chase me here and get pulled in again. I find it annoying how inconsistent PvE damage to invaders is. Of course they didn't fully remove it from every enemy, and there's a lot of stupid grabs, but at least explosions no longer hurt. Got a rare backstab using Aghs here, because this Asher Fall is just this slow. However, usually I wouldn't go for the first part of it. And final build I'm showing is a pure wizard. And ironically, this may be my favorite build in Elden Ring, so if I had to choose which to main, it would be this one. Every time I play in it, it takes some time getting used to. Casting is just so good in this game, especially looking back at lame Fire and Flash Sword or promising but disappointing Old Moonblade. I did like my offhand Hazelpick Wizard, but the variety of spells here is tremendous. Now you can also use one button to cycle back to the first spell, but because I've not played on this character for a while, I keep forgetting about it. I still like to keep trying new spells, and I'm using Shattering Crystal here. I've always felt like it has the potential but lacks something. Every crystal must hit for it to do damage. And I like Carrion Scepter Spin, because it does so much damage. Can't believe it, but I lost a ladder fight here, so I got deranked in Ladder Covenant. I'm not taking this invasion seriously, but here comes Twitch TV man. Actually, this is my first playthrough character. Originally I stopped at level 100 and beaten the game that way. Then I had some invasions like that and decided to go to 137, as this build really could use some points. I wasn't a fan of using homing soul masses in previous games, except Affinity and Pursuers. I like Great Blade Phalanx here, as it does a lot of poise damage, allowing to set up some turn and burns using Moonveil or Piercer. Coco Greenstone is OP because it just made this person fall off. Please nerf. Spellcasting feels so good in Elden Ring. It feels miles above previous From Software games. It's very engaging, can have lots of depth unless it starts ruin spam. It's also very dynamic and changeable. Arguably, it got best R1 spam in form of Slicer, and the longest catch R2 in the form of Piercer. I went for a signature Scott Jones combo here. Haven't gotten timing quite right yet, but even without it it's fine. Collapsing Star is tricky to dodge. I think it didn't work because this Asher 4 has hyper armor. I'm not afraid of using more of that OP consumable. There you see an example of roll catching and trading. It was a battle of two cool high intelligence builds, but only one wins. And that's gonna be it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the footage, and I'll see you soon on Showcase of level 200 Abomination I've made.